Good evening and welcome to the WKRG Hurricane Special for 2026. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth. Hurricane season is back and the time to prepare is now. We are sharing stories all geared to getting you ready. First, we begin with the official forecast for the 2026 season. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's official forecast calls for a quieter than average season, with 8 to 14 named storms forming in the Atlantic Basin. Of those storms, 3 to 6 are expected to become hurricanes, with 1 to 3 of those becoming major hurricanes. This falls in line with the first prediction of the season from the team at Colorado State University. They called for 13 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes. The key factors in this year's prediction are the development and strengthening El Niño pattern and warmer than normal sea surface temperatures. All of this leads to a 55% chance of a less active season. In May, the Gulf Coast Hurricane Awareness Tour stopped in Mobile. The iconic aircraft of the NOAA and Air Force hurricane hunters visited Mobile International Airport, giving local officials, the media, and the public a chance to climb on board with our warriors in the sky.
It's been 5 or 6 years since there were probably impactful hurricanes. Think about Sally or Zeta in this part of the northern Gulf Coast. Lots of people move into hurricane-prone areas from outside of hurricane regions. They don't understand what the hazards are, but even people who've been here a long time, people are worried about other things. They may not be thinking about that risk, so that's the whole point of why we're out here, is to remind people that hurricane season's coming soon, and this is the time to get ready.
The Air Force Hurricane Hunters has a very professional and long and distinguished lineage, which is something to be proud of, but we are all professionals. We train to do this mission. We have a very specific guideline, criteria that we use to stay safe, and we've never lost an aircraft.
All these aircraft really collect the most valuable direct measurements we can get inside a hurricane. We can tell them exactly where to fly into the storm, and they can gather direct information about where the storm's located, how strong it is, how big it is. It's really valuable because, especially when a storm's changing rapidly, you can get exact measurements of how strong the winds are, how much the pressure's dropped. And that's really been used by our forecasters at the Hurricane Center going back 80 years, as long as we've been flying aircraft into hurricanes. But the data now all get into the forecast models as well. So they become increasingly valuable and help make those track and intensity forecasts that we issue a lot better.
The P-3s is one of our heavy aircraft. We use those for hurricane hunting. We fly through the storm 8 to 12,000 feet, down in the turbulence in the thick of it. The King Air has a really important mission. They do emergency response and coastal mapping. So they have a LiDAR camera and they fly the coast. They use that to update the charts and baseline for navigation plots. But then when a hurricane hits, they go through and they use that camera to take high detailed images of the damage that the storm caused. And a lot of times that is like the first image someone can get of their home after a storm went through.
Regardless of what you hear about a seasonal forecaster El Nino, you have to get ready for hurricane season, especially along the Gulf Coast where you can have a storm form, rapidly strengthen, and make landfall within just 3 or 4 days. You want to have that plan in place now so you're not scrambling to put it together when a storm threatens.
We as meteorologists thank you, but I feel like the whole nation would like to thank you for the work that you and all the hurricane hunters
Appreciate it.
do.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you guys.
The Hurricane Hunters operate a suite of complex and vital aircraft to get us the life-saving information we need. The WC-130J Super Hercules is operated by the United States Air Force 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, based out of Biloxi, Mississippi. This plane is primarily used for tropical cyclone and severe weather data collection. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration operates 2 WP-3D Orion aircraft, nicknamed Kermit and Miss Piggy. These aircraft, built in the 1970s, are responsible for low-level weather data collection. Drop sondes are deployed from the aircraft and fall all the way down to the ocean surface. Upper-level data is collected by a modified Gulfstream 4 aircraft named Gonzo. This plane operates at altitudes approaching 50,000 feet. The data collected from this plane gives us a layout of the large-scale weather systems that eventually move tropical cyclones in one direction or the other. You heard it first from the National Hurricane Center director. You need to prepare now. One of those steps is assembling your disaster supply kit. We dispatched our morning crew to do just that. Meteorologists John Nodar and Caroline Carithers are hitting the stores and bringing us along.
Okay, well, it's time to start assembling your hurricane kit. Let's talk about what you need.
All right, we are at Greer's and Ace Hardware. You take the supplies,
Okay.
I'll get the food.
Ready?
Great. You'll need food for at least 3 days. Non-perishable food like soup or stew, Pop-Tarts or protein bars. Tropical weather can be a license to snack. Meteorologist Abigail Gillespie likes Uncrustables and Caroline prefers flavor-blasted goldfish. Get drinking water at the store and fill the tub with water for washing up. Don't forget paper products, the plates, the toilet paper, paper towels. Maybe some canned meat like Spam, or if you're like me, this is a great time to stock up on sardines. Here you go, Caroline.
Oh, ew, I need the flavor blasted goldfish. Now, for the rest of your kit, here's what you need. First of all, not the sardines. You need a NOAA weather radio. 2 reasons. 1, because it wakes you up in the middle of the night, and 2, it works even if your power goes out. You also need a flashlight, batteries, a manual can opener, a first aid kit, and sanitation wipes. Also, don't forget your medical prescriptions, important family documents, a change of clothes, pet food and water, matches, a whistle, and you're going to want some of these toiletry items.
And when a storm is actually approaching, fill your car with gas, charge your phone batteries, and get some cash.
Now, you don't have to buy this all at once. You can spread it out over several store visits.
And if there's no storm, well, great. It's not going to go to waste. Just eat it up after hurricane season ends.
For meteorologist John Nodar, I'm meteorologist Caroline Carithers, WKRG News 5.
Still ahead on our 2026 Hurricane Special, charging up your preparation with helpful advice from our local power crews, and the science of surge, why the old saying goes, hide from the wind and run from the water. Welcome back. After a storm, our power crews get out quickly to restore your electricity. They are sharing some ways you can stay informed this season.
So we have some new technology that we're using. It's called Sphere, and it allows us to better predict when a storm will roll in, where it will hit, where it will do the most damage to our system, and allows us to pre-stage resources in areas where we can respond even more quickly. We're always looking to improve. As technology improves, we want to be able to capitalize on that and to use it to better serve our customers.
We start trying to get the information out to customers, start trying to get additional inventory, and start, like I said, reviewing our plans with the whole company so everybody knows what they need to do when something happens.
Northwest Florida, we've done a lot of things. One of the things we've done is we've actually what we call hardened or strengthened over 250 miles of our main lines. And our transmission lines, which are on those large towers that you may see along the highways, we've actually, over 75% of those now have been made into steel or concrete from wooden poles. So those are now more resilient. We do a mock drill. We actually make it, we name the storm, we track a storm, and it's a week-long event where our employees take on their storm assignments, and we do the same things that we would do during a storm to be sure that we're prepared for that.
The first 72 hours are on you. So, we really encourage people to be prepared, having a generator, something for their medications, something for, somewhere to go if they need to.
Sometimes it's difficult to find some of those things, especially as the storm is rolling in. If we're looking at the very last minute, sometimes it's difficult to find exactly what we're looking for. Now's a good time to go ahead, inventory all that, make sure you have the things you need.
Following a storm, oftentimes there's debris, there's sometimes equipment around. We tell our customers, be sure to stay away from down lines. If you see facilities that are down, make sure they contact 911.
Make sure that when you plug that generator in, it's not backfeeding on the system because we can have employees working that people may not know about it, and if the generator's not installed correctly, it can hurt our employees.
So sometimes customers may see us doing assessments, which we have to do. We leverage technology for that, using drones and other technology to assess the lines.
Now is also a good time to enroll for our outage alerts. And that's information that would let you know if power's off at your home, perhaps you're out of town or you're at work, and when that power might be restored, and you can get regular updates on that information.
We have an app now that we really encourage everybody to download. It's called My Meter. You can track your outage, you can report an outage, and what we'll do is, and when we dispatch a crew, you'll get a text that says the crew's been dispatched.
If you go to fpl.com/storm, we have a lot of tips for our customers. They can be preparing, planning. Biggest thing is to have a plan. It's a partnership, right? We do our part by maintaining our lines and making the investments and hardening the system.
The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season will be remembered for one storm, Melissa. The Category 5 storm set numerous records across the Atlantic basin, including the strongest landfalling hurricane since 1935 and the third lowest air pressure ever observed in the Atlantic. The storm got so intense, several Hurricane Hunter aircraft had to cancel their missions due to the high G-forces within the storm's eye wall. The storm would make several landfalls, bringing destruction to Jamaica, Cuba, and the southern Bahamas. The science of surge. Meteorologist Abigail Gillespie is diving into the numbers and speaking with experts on what is still considered a hurricane's deadliest threat.
When most people think about hurricanes, they focus on category and wind speed, but water can become the bigger danger.
Well, the category only describes the wind intensity.
Hide from the wind, run from the water.
When we say run from the water, it means that you really need to get away from the coastline in the event that storm surge could threaten your area.
Storm surge is the abnormal rise in water levels that result when wind pushes water over the shore on ground that normally would be dry.
There are many other factors associated with a hurricane that can contribute to the overall height and extent that storm surge can reach. And so the other factors might be how fast or slow the storm moves, how large or small the storm is, where exactly it makes landfall, its angle of approach, if you will, in addition to the wind intensity. So all those factors together are what really contribute to the overall storm surge magnitude.
Evacuation zones you see on a map are drawn based on storm surge risk.
We actually do a lot of pre-planning, mitigation to understand what the actual surge risk is for an area. So we'll do a lot of high-resolution mapping, and that mapping information actually goes into the building and developing these hurricane evacuation zones.
Now let's break down storm surge. Surge up to 3 feet is considered minor surge. That's about up to my waist, but is plenty of water to wash away a vehicle. Storm surge up to 6 feet is considered moderate surge, and that puts me underwater. Surge can reach well above 6 feet, though. The highest recorded storm surge in the United States was during Hurricane Katrina, where it reached nearly 28 feet.
Especially here on the Gulf Coast, especially Mobile, Pensacola, this area is very prone and vulnerable to storm surge, and I would just hope that people have an understanding of what that risk is.
Just like for wind, the National Hurricane Center issues storm surge watches and warnings.
A warning when we issue it for a hurricane or storm surge is really our way of essentially jumping up and down on a table and screaming at people to get ready for the storm. We don't do it lightly.
That's why emergency managers stress the importance of knowing your evacuation zone before a storm threatens.
Sometimes people would look at that and say, oh, well, I'm 100 miles inland, I must not have to worry about it, and that's just not the case.
Water and storm surge can do more damage to property and lives than people might think.
Water itself is one of the leading causes of fatalities or direct fatalities within hurricanes.
So what our advice is that you can watch the forecast, see what we're putting out, but listen to your local officials. If they tell you to leave because you're in a storm surge evacuation zone, you need to listen to them and evacuate your home.
Really, it's about your life and specifically.
Coming up on our 2026 Hurricane Special, scams run rampant before and after a storm. We have some important information that may prevent you from becoming a victim. Welcome back. Scammers are out there to take advantage of you before and after a storm moves through. Meteorologist Sam Parker shares ways you can avoid getting scammed.
Before hurricane season ramps up, one of the most important things you can do is to protect your important documents. Things like insurance policies, birth certificates, passports, medical records, social security cards, and property records should all be copied and stored in a waterproof container or digitally back up in a secure cloud system. It's one small step that could make recovery much easier after a storm.
Both families and businesses should already be making plans before the first storm. So I headed downtown to talk with the Better Business Bureau to get some preparation tips.
If you do evacuate, that's a good thing to take with you. Just grab that folder where you've got everything and take it with you. And of course, before a disaster strikes, go ahead and go through your home and video everything. You know, they used to say take pictures, but now video is so easy with cell phones that we have. So go ahead and walk through, take a video of the inside of your home, the outside, your cars, your garage, and go ahead and get that ready for the insurance later.
The Better Business Bureau says preparation can also help people avoid scams that often pop up after major hurricanes. They recommend researching contractors ahead of time and keeping records of home repairs and valuables.
Just uninsured contractors just in general are a big problem after disasters. So people, especially with tree services, roof repairs, things like that. One of the things that we see a lot of times after hurricanes, this came up after the 2020 hurricanes, was these roof contractors would come in and say, hey, I'll put a tarp on your roof. I just need you to sign this paperwork. And what the homeowner didn't realize that they were doing is they were actually signing a contract that said, we'll put the tarp on it, but then you have to use us when it's time to get your roof repaired in a few months. And of course, your insurance might not approve that. They might not approve a roof repair, or they might not approve it for that contractor, especially if it's a storm chaser that probably doesn't have the proper licensing or insurance.
So then I went across town to meet with local public adjusters, and they say now is also the time to review your insurance coverage before hurricane season officially begins.
Well, they should make sure they have hurricane and wind coverage. A lot of policies that have the exclusion for that. So if a storm does come and you find out after the storm you don't have coverage, you're going to be paying out of your pocket.
They say homeowners should photograph and videotape their property, keep their receipts for major purchases, and contact their insurance agent with any questions about coverage gaps.
Document everything, because if you don't have, like your furniture has tags in it, and take a picture of a couch, the whole couch, and take a picture of the tag. Your kitchen cabinets, the better quality ones have a tag in them, like it's nailed to it, and it tells you what quality it is. Take a picture of your kitchen, take a picture of what's in the cabinets, because when it comes time to replace those, the insurance company's not going to give you the best ones. They're going to give you the cheapest ones.
Taking these steps now could help your family and or your businesses recover faster if a hurricane impacts the Gulf Coast this season.
A final thought to leave you with. Our part of the Gulf Coast is no stranger to the worst storms on the planet. Names like Katrina, Frederick, Ivan, and Sally are etched into our landscape, buildings, and our memories. We've gotten lucky in recent years, but all it takes is one storm to make an everlasting impact on a community. Recovery is always measured in years, but that rebuilding process can happen only if you take the steps to save your life. So, prepare now. You can find more information on WKRG.com and look for new episodes of Hurricane History on WKRG+. We will take a look back at the most iconic storms to strike the Gulf Coast. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe.